Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's overview of ETQ Reliance Winter 24. We have a ton of exciting stuff to get through or share with you guys today. Um, sorry, just a couple of quick housekeeping things before I dive into the agenda. So this session will be recorded and it will be available afterwards on ETQ Academy. So you can come back and watch and share with folks in your organization. And then sorry, what was I going to say? My goodness, I'm off to a great start. I'm joined by Tom Barlow, one of our lead strategic solution engineers, and he's going to walk through some of the demo aspects for you. So great to have you here with me today, Tom. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. And I know that we're both very
Awesome.
excited about the new things that we're going to be discussing in our winter 24 version.
Yes, yep. Great, so I think I did cover that. So it will be recorded, available on Academy, and if you have any questions or comments throughout the presentation here, go ahead and throw that in the chat window, and we should have some time at the end for some Q&A as well. So like I say, a lot of ground to cover. I want to kick things off by kind of walking through the release calendar. We've got a varied audience here. Some of you may be very familiar with how the releases work, but we always have new folks in the mix. So I just want to level set on all of that and share that information with you. And then we're covering it all. We've got NXG platform, CG platform, we've got mobile, we've got insights. Also want to give a little plug to our new connected worker solution and a brief update on the migration program. So any folks out there who are thinking about or kind of embarking on that NXG migration, got some information for you, and then as well some of our newer professional services offerings as well. So we want to continue to evolve in that regard as well, not only the product but in our services as well to best serve you. And then, like I mentioned, we should have a couple of minutes for Q&A. So go ahead and dive right in here to an overview of the ETQ Reliance release schedule. So we have 3 seasonal releases per year, and that applies primarily to NXG and CG. I'm just going to go ahead and advance this real quick. So taking a little step back, so we do have 3 versions of the platform in the wild, just for awareness for folks. So our most current version, our SaaS platform, is ETQ Reliance NXG, and then we have the CG version, which is current generation, and then our legacy 2017 version. So really the calendar is really driven by that NXG version, where we are pushing those updates 3 times per year. And then we align the CG updates to those NXG dates, even though it's more of a manual patch delivery, and we schedule that with the patch services team. And then Reliance 2017, because it is on extended support, it's typically just kind of 1 update per year, and we've got an update currently scheduled for mid-year for the 2017 platform. So kind of back to the table here. So on I guess the middle column, that is the date, if you're on NXG, that is the date that we push the update to your non-production environment. So that could be, a QA environment, a dev environment, a validation environment. And then 6 weeks later, so there's a 6-week window where you can review the release notes, review the change log, prepare for any of the changes, get ready to, share those things with your teams, do some training. And then 6 weeks later, that update will push into your production environments. So that's the general structure there. And just wanted to also talk a little bit about how we notify you of when these updates are coming. So you probably maybe know my name or not. My name is Angela Anderson. I think I didn't say that at the top, product marketing manager here at ETQ. So I send these product notices out to account ambassadors. So anyone who's flagged as an ambassador on the account should receive these release notices. And for NXG customers, I send a 30-day notice, an 8-day notice, 1 day, 1 hour, and then another update once the update is complete. So sending a lot of messages. Hopefully it's not too much. Always looking for feedback on that, but we figure that's giving enough reminders for you to kind of have it on your radar. And then for the Reliance CG folks, normally just sending that notice kind of on or before the GA date. So that middle column, we kind of also refer to that as a general availability date. So it's when it's generally available to all customers. Whether it's been pushed to your non-prod NXG environment or just the patch is available for CG folks. So I'll send an email when that's available. We aim to have draft release notes and the change log 30 days prior to that GA date. Sometimes that can slip by a day or two, but our goal is really to have that at that 30-day email notice so that you have that as quickly as possible. And then the validation packages, they are usually, a few days before that GA date. Yep, so that's kind of how that works. If you find that you are not receiving these notices when you feel like you should be, please let me know at aanderson@etq.com. And for folks who are on the list and you want to add others, please just reply to any of those notices that go out and we'll get you squared away. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig into NXG platform. And before I hand it over to Tom, just wanted to kick things off regarding the platform. Hopefully you have found this new tool useful. And for folks who are new to it, this was, I think was summer 23, we deployed a way to provide in-app messaging and guidance right on the NXG platform. So with a new update or leading up to an update, we're able to display a message to administrators kind of right on the screen there to say, if in case you missed the email or just as a reminder, hey, the update's coming, and then pointing you to some resources. So now you'll see in kind of the lower right-hand corner, there's a little kind of wayfinder sign symbol, and that displays on the home page dashboard within NXG. And you can always click that to navigate back to the tooltips and any, with our new homepage, we had kind of a guided tour. So you can always re-access that through this resource center. And then any other kind of what's new or product announcements or things that, we think are kind of critical for you to know about the platform, those messages are accessible right there in the little icon. So you just click to open it and then click it again to hide it or hit the little X. And then as you kind of navigate the platform and where there is a new feature, we're looking to improve guidance for those new features. So you'll find a little kind of lowercase I with a circle around it, and you can just click on that for additional information on how to use the feature or where to learn more, and it'll link to an online help or to a KB article. So it's just kind of putting those kind of how-to resources a little closer to where you are actually, doing the work and figuring out the new features. So hopefully those are helpful things, helpful additions to your NXG experience, and of course always looking for feedback on that, which you can always provide through the user voice link on ETQ Campus. All right, so with that, I am going to hand it over. Actually, no. Tom, we can maybe tag team on this a little bit. So the first thing we wanted to talk to you about feature-wise is Microsoft 365 collaboration. So this is a very exciting announcement. It's adding to our capability to be able to have multiple editors on a document within a phase. So we already have the Google Docs collaboration that's available, and now we're expanding out that capability with Microsoft 365. And like I say, this is great for teams that require 2 or more co-editors. So you can get into that document and edit at the same time. You can create a new Microsoft 365 Word document right through the ETQ Reliance interface, which kind of eliminates that need to, with the current Office integration process, you would create a template and kind of download that document, do your editing, and then re-upload it. So this kind of eliminates that step. And then, of course, it is there's kind of 2 layers of security happening here with you're getting the protection of, because you're connecting to your Microsoft 365 business account, you're getting that protection. So someone has to, have access to your Microsoft 365 account, but it's also controlled by the ETQ Reliance user access security. So I'm gonna open the floor to you, Tom.
Yeah.
Anything
So,
to add here?
yeah, well, yeah, when you're talking about the Reliance security, what you're talking about is the ability to control access to each individual document using the front end of Reliance's security. So maybe move on to the next slide, and I think we have some screenshots to show what that might look like.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Well, it's actually what it does look like, because we took we took these screenshots from our system. So you might notice the new button that's on the form called Create New. So this allows whoever's creating the new document to click on this Create New, and then if you click again, it's going to default to give it a file name based on the doc type and the doc number, but you can change it right there if you want to. And then when you click on Continue, it moves on to the next, and it actually opens it up in the Microsoft 365 environment. So this allows you to create your document, and then when you're finished with that, you would close it. And I think if you move on to the next slide, you can see that it then attaches it right there. It looks like it's just a link. Instead of it being a link to a file, which you used to have to download to your local machine, it's now linking it to the location up in your SharePoint folder, but you're not accessing it through the back end, you're accessing it through our front end. And then what's going to happen, and I may be getting ahead of myself here, but I just want to make sure that when we talk about applying the rules of ETQ Reliance, when you assign it for different steps of review and approval, based on your current ability to have multiple people assigned to a certain phase for review or approval or whatever that step may be, the front end of Reliance limits the ability to edit that attachment to only the people that are assigned to that particular step. So it allows for, let's say if you assigned initial approval to 4 people, and they can literally go in there, click on the link, and literally at the same exact time now collaborate on it, and it would show you just like you do now when you share on SharePoint and multiple people edit the same document on SharePoint. You can see people in there moving. It shows their initials as they move around, and then when you're done, you basically publish it to the system as an attachment, and then it would go through the rest of the workflow for the rest of the review and approval process, and whatever rights you had set up, you can edit it further down the workflow, of course, if that's what you wanted to allow as well. So let's move on to the next slide and see what we get there. So this is what it looks like when someone opens it initially. So they can't edit it at this point unless they're allowed to. And then if they click on the 3 dots on the top right, which I believe is shown by the next slide, this will allow them to collaborate on the document at the same time as other people that are also allowed to collaborate on the document. And I think that may be, is that the end of the slides for this one? The screenshot?
Yep. Well, yep. It's into screenshots, and yeah, when that window opens for editing, it looks just like it does if you're in a a SharePoint Word document. It's got all the editing tools that are available on native SharePoint.
This is a much anticipated feature that we've had requests from many people for. So we're excited to have it.
Yeah. And did you want to hit on the
Right.
notes here?
So the first question, especially our existing customers, which is this group would have, is what about Office integration, which is the macros that come with the templates? The issue with macros is that there's a security problem inherent to those macros. So what you can do is you can do a combination of both things, where you can create the document originally in Office 365 or Microsoft 365, collaborate on the content of the document, and then at some point before you publish it, you can then go into the older original standard Office integration template, which can still be there, just sitting alongside. It's still there on the screenshot that I showed earlier. You can grab the template that then will synchronize the header information or whatever, and you can copy the content from the collaborated version in Microsoft 365 and now paste it into that attachment, the Word Office integration attachment. So that would be our recommendation for kind of a hybrid of both if you want to still have that update to the header and footer information. And then for any revisions, you would basically repeat, you would copy the content from the original, the Word Office integration version back into Microsoft 365, and then you would collaborate on that new version and then paste it back into the template.
Yeah. So not 100% ideal, but until we find a more permanent solution for that field sync, this is how you would use them kind of side by side.
And we thought we would address this now because we can almost bet that a bunch of you guys in your heads were thinking that yourselves anyway. So we wanted to just address it right up front.
Yeah, yep.
Right, so we have a lot of details available, and you need credentials, as Angela already mentioned, into the Office or Microsoft 365 account.
Yep.
So your organization's current 365 account, you can just connect to ETQ Reliance, and then it would just use our front end to open up any documents. Now, the other thing I want to mention is this capability is a platform capability, so it doesn't just occur for document control, right? You can use it in any other application where you have attachments. So one thing that comes to mind is the root cause analysis capabilities within the corrective action process. Maybe you can, use whatever method you use and have people collaborate on the root cause, the fishbone or the 5Y or whatever it might be. So it is a platform feature. I just want to remind you of that. Document control is the main use case for this, but of course, it's just like anything else in our system. It's available in any other place in the system that you'd like to configure it.
Yeah, that's a great use case for root cause. Love that. Yep, and gaining that or setting up that connection may involve your IT team. So this guide that's linked to the release article on campus, it's a very detailed guide on everything you would need to provide your IT counterpart to go through the process. So got you covered. And then one last point here. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, thanks. So the setting is actually a toggle. So in other words, you can either use the Google Docs collaboration feature or Microsoft 365. They cannot be used at the same time. So it's got to be one or the other.
Yep. Great. All right. So moving on, the next feature we want to talk about is depositor submission.
This is very exciting. So for those of you that haven't heard of this, what it allows you to do is to have an anonymous user hit a URL that represents a specific form in the system to create a new record and click a button to submit, and then it follows the regular workflow business rules to assign it to the next step as your regular workflow would if you had logged in and created it as a draft and moved it on to the next step. So it gives you the ability to have a lot more people observe things and enter things into the system. Some use cases would be the incidents, accidents, and safety reporting application, non-conforming materials, which Angela's going to show you in just a minute to show you what that looks like. The other one would be quality events. So any person could observe something and create a new record without having to have a login, without having to use a license. There's a slight fee. There's a fee for the ability to have a depositor, but once you have that, it's limitless. So you can have as many people as you want to create records. But and I'm not sure if I'm getting ahead of myself here again, Angela, but the caveat is you cannot have that user ever be assigned anything unless they also have their own Reliance account. So even if someone has their own account, they can still use a depositor license to record something anonymously without consuming a concurrent license. And then if there's something that gets assigned to them later on, they would just use their standard license to log in to the system, and then it would consume a concurrent license during the time that they're active within the system.
Yep. Yep, so if you're interested in this capability, please do reach out to your account team, either your account executive or your customer success manager, and they can talk to you about pricing. Like Tom said, it's just based on the number of full CCUs that you have licensed, and then it's unlimited submissions. Okay, well, let's take a quick look then. So yeah, this was just to show where this lives when you're in designer mode, and in this example, we're in a nonconformance report form. Tom, did you want to kind of walk through
Sure.
this
So
view?
first of all, this is a new section on the form setting that allows you to turn on or off depositor access. So if you check that allow depositor submission box, all the stuff below appears. It gives you the URL that you would actually have to copy and share with your users that they would use to access that particular form. And then you can specify which workflow it's going to be using within that app, and then even which phase to route it to next. So, typically you're going to route it to the second phase of any process. So if you're familiar with our nonconformance management out of the box workflow, MRV review is the next step. So when someone submits it and they're not going to see the workflow on the top of the form. It's just going to be the form itself. It's not going to have any lookups. They can just enter in data on the forms if you have them. So it's going to hide that secure data that you don't want to allow certain external users to access, which could, by the way, be customers as well. So the customer complaints can be tracked. That's another use case I didn't even think about. That would be huge to have a link on your website that says submit customer complaint or customer question or whatever it might be, and it might launch a customer feedback record, which could then capture their information and then route it to the process. So, and then after they submit, as you'll see when Angela demonstrates this in just a minute, you can have it either display an external URL, such as in this case, we have the ETQ website, or it could be any other URL that you want.
Oops.
Or if they're a user, you could have it also deposit or show a Reliance login screen as well.
Yep.
So go ahead, Angela.
Yeah, sorry, I accidentally hit the button and advanced it, so I hope that didn't throw you off. Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys, here's that in-app guidance that we talked about at the top of the presentation. So when you're in the form, that little eye just gives you a little window to understand what the feature is and where you can learn more if you need some additional guidance on setting things up. All right, so let's pretend that we had our nonconformance report form already configured. So the depositor, the non-NXG user, or sorry, non-Reliance user would have the link, and like Tom said, it could be published on a website, internet, wherever you would want to have access to this. And this is what they'd see when they'd click that link. So they would just need to pop, for some localization purposes, pop in their time zone and their language, and then when they click continue. So it looks just like a Reliance form. And Tom, if you want to kind of walk through some of the features here. Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
Yeah, you can just fill in the fields. You can see at the top priority department, nonconformance type, those are standard. But the one thing I want to point out is that in the product information section, purposely, we do not allow them to do lookups into your list of products, and that's for security reasons. So what it does, and you can of course configure this differently, but the way this, and when I say configure it differently, maybe different sections to capture different information, but they would type in the details. They have 2 required fields that you can see that they must populate. And then once that's done, the user would simply click on the submit on the top right once that's done. So she's going to fill in a couple things there. Once again, typing additional details. There's an attachment field, I think, where they can provide a picture of whatever it might be that they want to submit. And then literally, all you have to do is click on the top right under submit. And now what it does is it submits the record.
Oh,
And there we go. That's good. So anyway, you
oh
manually
well,
typed in that
you can
URL.
prepare and
Yeah. So what it did is I actually I just heard my headphones ping because I just got an email because I'm actually one of the people assigned to that MRV review step. So whatever Angela just submitted has already been sent to me as an assignment, and I can just simply, just like any other process that you're assigned to, you can click on the link to open the record. You can see it under your My Assignment section of the home page. Escalation will start to track the due date.
Yep.
So that's the idea. That's the submission. Something was wrong with the external URL link that she put in there, which caused that to come up, but it still worked. It still submitted the record, and that's the important part.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And this is where you would put in whatever that external URL that you want to direct people to once they do fill out the form. So apologies for that. Mildly embarrassing, but we're going to move on. Okay, so that's depositor submission. Next up, we've got actions, visibility controls. What's that, Tom?
This is really very powerful. So a lot of our customers came to us and said, we want to be able to restrict users' capabilities of doing certain things, even if they're managers. We may not want them to do certain things. So there are two places in the system where you can set up this configuration, and you can hide actions, whether it's in the top bar, in the little more button on the left side, or on the top right. So those actions, and even within the view itself, so the view things like reassign documents and things that come up. So it's funny because I have a discussion later this week with a customer of ours that's been using our system for years, and these are things that they've struggled with, where they liberally assign manager capabilities to certain people because they want them to be able to do certain things that an author can't do, but they don't want them to be able to do everything. So this allows you to superimpose on top of this ETQ script. And if I think the next slide shows a screenshot of the setting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Could be wrong. Actually, Angela, there was one time where I thought I was wrong, but it turns out that I was mistaken. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm being silly. So you can, basically this setting exists either in the form, it's two places based on the type of action it is. One's in the form setting and the other one's in the application setting itself. There's a visibility section where you can, it's a subform, you can have as many as you want. So you can select the action that you want to hide or show based on conditions or business rules. So you basically choose the one you want, and then you would use a business rule in the hide when ETQ script section, just like any other place in the system. And then based on users' roles, and the example that I set up for this discussion I have later this week was based on the user's role. So if they're not a system administrator, even though they're defined as a manager in that app, it's going to hide things like the reassign button and other things that they just can't have access to, edit all fields, for example. So it's really, really powerful in getting, and our system was pretty granular already when it came to security, but it makes it even more powerful as far as the granularity of security within our system.
Yep. Great. Okay. So moving along, we've got some new language and localization enhancements on a couple of different fronts. First off, we have two new languages, Japanese and Korean. We are on short final to get those package files up on the knowledge base article. So if you're looking for that, you can search the title we have here, NXG localization and out-of-box localization packages, or from the winter 20, Reliance NXG winter 24 knowledge base article is linked there as well. So that page will be updated when we've got those new files ready to go. Should be within the next few days. So excited about this because, we've got a lot of global customers, and every little bit helps with a global deployment to be able to put things in, a localized format and language and those types of things. So excited to announce that to you guys. And then the next thing, somewhat related to localization, is ETQ Mobile 3.0.0 is now available on app stores on Apple and Android. And the platform localization capabilities are now all extended to ETQ Mobile. And we've got online help guide to assist with this. And just a note to say, this is with NXG only. CG support, I believe, is planned for summer 24. We're working on locking down what will be in the summer 24 release, but CG will be a quick follow-on for these capabilities. And then the other thing to mention here on mobile, if you're on your device and you do the kind of a semi-long tap, at least that's how it is on Apple, to bring up the little pop-up menu on the app icon. App shortcuts or quick actions is kind of the label for Android and Apple. That's a very convenient feature to just hop right into a particular app that you use frequently. It's just a way to get there more quickly. So that's what we have on the mobile front. And I think next up, I think this will be a crowd pleaser, print to PDF enhancements and general PDF rendering enhancements. So I'm gonna hand it back to Tom to walk through those items with you.
Absolutely. So we made some improvements on the PDF printing capability. So when you click on the print button, this menu on the top right comes up, which gives you the ability to define which tabs you want to include. This one's showing all tabs, but you can just choose a specific tab. And you can also choose to hide the comment history or the current phase in the printout. So once again, these are customer feedback items that we incorporated into the system. Also, we made them easier to read by removing the gray background, and you can see them listed here, some of the things to make it a little bit more poppy and make it more just more attractive to look at, more than just being an output from the form. And then CG only currently supports the PDF previewer to being visible in the browser. We're working on that for NXG as well, but instead of popping up a separate PDF viewer, which takes a couple of extra seconds to do that, it just seamlessly pops it up as a new tab within your browser.
Yep, and I'll just add a little something here. So this is NXG and CG, with the exception of the PDF previewer. These enhancements are NXG and CG. And then before we get too far away from it, the actions visibility controls that we just looked at, just wanted to point out that, and you'll see a bit of a repeat when we get to the CG section here, but that's something where we've brought parity between CG and NXG. So we've added some additional visibility controls on CG, and then brought the two versions into alignment as far as the options there. So if there was something about that was holding you back from an NXG migration, that's something we've addressed with this release.
And I think the next few slides have some examples of what it looks like. So this is an example of being in a form. You hit the print button, and then that window that I just mentioned, after you hit save, would pop up, and you can select which tab or tabs to print. In this case, it's all tabs. You can choose to hide the comment history or hide the current phase. And I believe the next slide shows a comparison side by side of what that would look like.
Yeah.
So this is the hide current phase. The one on the bottom shows that the original look and feel included the phase every time. You can choose to hide it, and therefore you can see on top that there's a spot missing, which is made obvious by that square that's on there. And then the comment history as well is you can choose whether to show it or hide it in the output in the PDF. And this is some of the look and feel things. You can see that the text is bolder. It's easier to extinguish borders. It's a little bit, or distinguish. You're not extinguishing anything. You're distinguishing the borders. Although this, never mind. I'll quit while I'm ahead.
Don't start a fire, Tom.
Yeah. And then let's move on to the next slide for a sec. You can see that it doesn't show the actions in the old print to PDF. It showed the actions that were available in the subform section. So that's removed, just cleaning it up, making it a little bit more attractive looking. And then some of the subform capabilities, the actions are gone. There's no clutter. The checkboxes are gone. And there's no hard to read gray text. So before it was kind of a little bit difficult. And this, once again, this is all feedback that we've gotten from customers that, no major issues, but just kind of things that they would prefer to see. And we're responding by incorporating that along with all the other things that we're working on.
Yep. Just some annoyances there that, we're addressing. And just for for future, I don't have anything specific to report other than to say this remains on the roadmap. This is an area where we'll continue to make improvements. Okie doke. Tom, are you ready to jump to CG platform?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. So we've gotten a lot of feedback from our customers that kind of personalize the system, and they market our system internally and actually name it something completely different than ETQ Reliance. So we wanted to give you some additional flexibility on the login screen as well as on the home page. And you can see here that we have things like the ability to use your own logo, your footer logo, which could be different than the main logo. The center logo could be different if you rename our system something else, which we have many customers that do for their own internal purposes. So yeah, once again, just trying to make it a little more personalized.
Yeah. All right. And then a slew of other things. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are, we already discussed, I think, one of them, which was the actions visibility control, bringing it to parity with the CG version. So the ability to use our ETQ script to show or hide different actions, whether it's at the app level or at the form level. There's a new reassignment security feature. We got some feedback that said, okay, when the administrator goes in to reassign, or someone clicks on the button on the top right to reassign a record to somebody else, there were no restrictions. So in other words, it just gave them the entire list of everybody in the organization. So while the administrator may want to be able to do that at the view level still, which is still the way it works, we have the ability for each phase to just check a box that says enforce assignment rules or something similar to that. So therefore, when they click on that top right reassign button, it restricts the reassignment to the original business rules that were defined for that particular phase. So that's a pretty powerful feature, although it's a subtle one. The ability to have single sign-on enabled single logout. So when you log out, you're truly logged out of the system. Some more standard behavior of the web pages, such as the ability to highlight and copy text and tabbing through number fields. And then the time zone for on-prem administrators, the update to the time zone is another feature that we added.
Great. Thank you, Tom.
Sure.
All right, let's keep trucking. I'll talk a little bit about, honestly, I don't have anything on, well, I have a little bit on integrations related to Connect to Worker, which we'll look at next, but let's take a look at analytics. A couple things to cover here. So similar to summer 23 release, we continue to add more data elements and fleshing out our quality data lake schema. There's coverage for administration center and lookup schema, so your master keywords. So just continuing to enhance the schema, and like summer 23 and starting with summer 23, insights will be a mandatory update. And that's in alignment with how Reliance NXG works. So we're going to kind of bring those two platforms along together. So you may or may not have had some communication with the Insights team as far as updating your environment. I know they're working very hard to get everyone on the schedule and get folks shifted to, the primary focus is getting folks shifted to summer 23 first, and then we'll focus on the winter 24 update. So it's right now kind of working a little more like the patch application and kind of scheduling that like you would with the CG platform. But that will, we'll continue to kind of shift into more of a, here's the update window, or the scheduled window for an Insights update. We're not there yet, and we want to make sure we're working with everyone to make this transition and feel comfortable with it. So you'll see some continued communications around getting on summer 23 if you're not there yet. And then as well, once we're kind of turning our focus to winter 24, there'll be communication around that. So we won't do anything until we've communicated with you. And the reason we're really doing this and kind of making it more of a a mandatory update, we want to make sure that we can kind of, this is a big area of focus, and a big part of our roadmap is to really expand and provide more innovation around analytics. We're collecting a lot of quality data, and we want customers to be able to do what they need to do with that data and get the true value out of that data that you're collecting, and to be able to analyze that in a lot of different ways. So it's very important that we kind of bring people into the same version. That way we're maintaining alignment with the platform. First of all, and then obviously being able to deliver more innovation as we go along, and having folks on a lot of different versions of insights just really makes that that difficult. And perhaps most importantly is the data protection and security, and just being able making sure everyone has the most current technology, but also the security that goes along with that. So just much easier when everyone's kind of on the same version. So more to come on the insights front. I think we're going to have some really exciting stuff for you guys for summer 24. So stay tuned, and keep an eye out for the communications coming around your summer 23 and then winter 24 update on insights. Okie doke. And the other thing I wanted to present for you guys that you may or may not be aware of, but we announced last fall a connected worker solution. So just wanted to tell you a little bit about that in case you're not familiar. So we, Tom talked a lot about customer feedback and the things we're hearing from the market, and where there are needs and where we can potentially solve some pain for folks. We know everyone is, and maybe many people on this call are feeling the pain of these massive kind of workforce shortages, and companies, maybe yours, are just increasingly unable to find skilled workers to fill your needs. So there's just not enough people out there to do the job like it's always been done. And you may be kind of looking to hire less skilled workers to fill positions, and kind of working through an automation plan. But then the burden shifts to training and HR to help get workers skilled and productive faster, and hang on to them. And then as older generations are retiring, all of that experience is kind of slipping out the door, and there's that pressure to enable organizational learning and like collecting that knowledge before it leaves. And then kind of these shifting expectations as the new generation of workforce comes on. There's a certain expectation around technology and how how they engage and how technology can empower them. It's just a different view there. And this all has an impact on quality. So in the face of kind of having to do more with less, and still meet quality and production goals with potentially less staff that have less experience, like how do you deal with that? Making that onboarding more efficient, get people productive faster, successfully training them, keeping them upskilled, giving them a career path, supporting a staff that just maybe has less experience, and support them throughout their employment journey. So there's a lot going on there, and there's obviously a direct tie to quality, where you're able to train people in the right way and have them perform at their best level, to ensure a quality product. So what we offer now is a way to kind of bring these two enterprise systems together, your enterprise QMS and a connected worker platform. And we'll kind of walk through this little diagram here, and bringing those systems closer together to enable a collaborative digital workflow across teams, and help solve some of those those pains related to maintaining quality in the face of the challenges we just looked at. And today we're partnering with a company called Augmenteer, and looking at this diagram. So the idea here is that we have ETQ Reliance, that's your enterprise quality management system. That's your quality management system of record. It's the single source of truth for all your quality processes and compliance. And it's where you can proactively track and trend and analyze your quality data. And then as a powerful complement to the QMS, the Connected Worker platform, like I say in this case, our partner Augmenteer, that's kind of serves as your centralized system for smart, your smart onboarding. They've got some great AI capabilities, training, guidance, and support. It's digital work instructions. They can also enable autonomous maintenance. They offer more of a shop floor friendly interface when it comes to those digital work instructions. They support mobile devices and wearables, and they can enable workers of different experience levels with the appropriate levels of autonomy to do their work safely, correctly, and repeatable quality. So it puts those kind of multimedia instructions right there at the worker fingertips. So I've highlighted quality events, doc control, training here under the QMS because those are the integration use cases that we're currently focused on. So quality events is something that's already available, and a connected, what that means is there's through the Augmenteer interface, so a frontline worker going through an inspection checklist. They identify an issue on the line. They can literally push a button to create a quality report, and that will, through the integration, automatically create a quality event record in Reliance. And then the quality team can take that in and run with whatever other quality processes need to be addressed with that. So, tracking and trending the data, investigating, doing root cause, and then also sending action items back to that frontline worker from the Reliance interface back into that Augmenteer interface. They immediately get notified, here's the action we need to take. So it really creates that closed loop, and that frontline worker is empowered to make those reports because they know, that information will be acted on and they can be a part of the solution. So it's a very powerful use case for engaging that frontline workforce. And then so quality events is already in play. We're looking at doc control and training management. There's a ton of other use cases that have potential here, especially when we look at integrating with other systems, as Reliance already does. Augmenteer is very similar. They're very flexible with integrating with different business systems. So we'd love to talk to you. Actually, I think I've got one more slide here. So to kind of summarize all of that, we are really working with Augmenteer to harness that frontline expertise and that experience, one, to detect issues earlier and resolve them faster through that collaborative workflow. So being able to report an issue, have the quality team act on it, get to a root cause, and then make that disposition, or get the action items back out in the field, but then also following up to, is this a change to a work instruction? Is this a change to some documentation or a training need? Or do we need to let the supplier know? Do we need to let other facilities know about this new best practice? So with the two systems kind of working together hand in hand in that regard is very powerful. So that's Connected Worker in a nutshell, and would love to hear from anyone who is interested in perhaps expanding their Reliance deployment to include some of these Connected Worker technologies. Please do get a hold of your account team if you are interested. We can set up a call to talk in further detail and bring in Augmenteer for some demonstration as well. It's a very powerful demonstration. So that's Connected Worker. And sorry, just keeping an eye on the time here. I want to keep a few minutes for Q&A. Just have a couple more topics. A quick update on the NXG migration program. So the program is in motion. There will be more information coming to you on some of the kind of schedule details. The ask is open, or the request is open. Anyone interested in learning more about moving to NXG, please do reach out to your account team. We have a very detailed guide available on ETQ Campus, and we've got the article name there. Just search for ETQ Reliance NXG upgrade, and it should come up in your results there. But it covers the whole migration process, the considerations, some of the pre-migration configuration updates. So it just gives you a real sense of kind of what to expect with the effort. And be sure to check that out. And then as far as next steps, if you're interested in kind of starting the conversation with a project coordinator, you can go ahead and create a migration service request on ETQ Campus, or definitely reach out to your account team, either your account executive or your customer success manager. If you have need more information or have questions, we can get you connected to the right people to talk through any kind of technical questions that you might have before embarking on that. So that's the plug for migration program. And then finally, wanted to make sure you're aware of some new things on our ETQ professional services front. Of course, that team is there to provide continued expert support after your initial ETQ Reliance implementation. So we've got a lot of different short-term and long-term options that suit your needs and budget. We have two new kind of renewable type subscription plans. One is a technical account manager. So this is really kind of built in. You may have experienced, having a technical account manager with some of your other kind of enterprise business systems. So this is someone who is a high-level, ETQ expert. They're going to be able to help you with roadmap guidance and growth. They are basically your trusted advisor, your single point of contact. They're going to help you manage your QMS program and make sure that you're delivering the value that you hope to deliver with the QMS platform, and helping with that growth and adoption, and expanding that to incorporate other processes across teams. So that's really, it's more of a strategic focus. And then we have on-demand admin plan, which gives you access to someone where if you're just, maybe you lost your admin, or you just don't have enough kind of in-house support to handle the day-to-day, quality professionals. I know you guys are all busy with a million things, and maybe you need to focus on process improvement or some other things, and you just need help on that day-to-day technical assistance with application administration, user account management, end user enablement, some basic configuration updates, just kind of those day-to-day things. We can provide support for that as well. And then of course, a whole host of other services around kind of more scoped projects. Many of you may be familiar with our general consulting, or RC time, remote consulting time, where you can buy blocks of time. So we've got different options there for procuring that time if you want to put it on more of a subscription basis, just for more reliable kind of budget planning, that type of thing. We can help you with expansions if you're wanting to deploy a new application. We can work with you through that project, or with validation, either full or assisted. So a lot of different options to kind of keep your momentum going, keeping your day-to-day ops going with Reliance. So again, reach out to account team, start the conversation. They'd love to talk to you about what the options are. It's quality is a journey, and your needs may change over time, just depending on your internal staffing, or what your corporate objectives are. So we're here to help with whatever. As those needs change, we have solutions that can help you through those different phases of your quality journey. So don't be shy, reach out. Okay, so I think wrapping up here, so just so everyone's aware, be sure to go to campus. That's where all the release articles are. release notes, change logs, validation packages. So for CG and NXG Winter 24, those validation packages are available by request. So just put a service request in to ask for those for life sciences customers. And all kinds of other important documentation. So we talked about the MS365 guide, we talked about the localization packages, so all of that additional detail and support is out there as well. And that's all I had. Any final comments, Tom, before we hop into some Q&A? I'm going to take a look at the chat and see what we've
Let's
got
talk
there.
about Q&A for a second. You know how they say, be careful what you wish for, and we ask for
Yeah.
questions? We literally have dozens of, of questions
Oh no,
that
okay.
came
I've
in.
been looking.
So we might have to, we
Whew.
will have to address them after this is over and get back to you on those. But there were some general categories like, mobility. There was a question about, validation of mobility of the mobile app as well as the submission for depositor. The answer is unfortunately no for both of those right now. We are working on validation of the mobility, but that's sometime in the future. But that makes me think about something else, which is the ability to use the browser on your mobile device to access the same web version that you would use on your laptop or desktop. As you probably know, that it's optimized for your tablet form factor right now because of the restrictions of the stuff on the left side of the screen. Doesn't work very well with the phone. We are working on addressing that as well, so that in the future, and we hope it's a relatively near future, you can use the web version on the phone or the tablet, and the responsive design will even be better as far as the left side, and you'll be able to get around the depositor question, which means that you can use the mobile version on your, not the mobile version, but the mobile browser on your mobile device to use it for a depositor, as well as the ability to have it validated for your end users. So that's the one thing. A couple of other questions came up around Microsoft 365, and I believe while you can import your existing documents into the system initially, it still won't support Office integration, so the macros will no longer work. And there were a couple of other questions about, I'm trying to think of them because there were just so many questions, and being that I'm getting up there in age, it's hard to even see them sometimes. So I just can't think of any additional questions about that right now, but there were several that we will respond to.
Yeah, Tom, I know you've got a hard stop here at top of the hour. And I just kind of glancing through here, I think you hit through, looks like you hit through the major
Oh, there was a question
buckets of.
about the template was the question. So there currently is not a template supported using Office 365 or Microsoft 365. It just brings you to a blank document. So once again, the template could be either a separately stored OI template in the system that's used as an attachment that you copy and paste into the Microsoft 365 document, or you can just have it locally and just paste it in there. So once again, this is our first release of this feature, and we'll of course be taking customer feedback and evaluating the feasibility of incorporating all these different things. So we chose to release it as is now instead of wait even longer to release it with a tool. So we wanted to make it available to you as soon as possible in the original format.
Yep. And I think, yeah, there was just popped out at me here, demo available for connected worker. Yes, 100%. Reach out either to me, your account team. I'm at aanderson@etq.com, or reply to one of the product notices I've sent you, and happy to connect you with the right people to set up a demo for that. Okay, so yeah, we've got some work to do, I think, to follow up on some of these questions, which we'll do directly with you guys. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for all the questions, and we'll see you next. Oh, one thing, sorry, I know you got to hop, Tom, but one other thing I will mention quickly. We do have we record our roadmap so our look aheads. We record presentations now for roadmap. We have another update coming the end of March, early April. So do make sure to reach out to your account team if you're interested in seeing a brief kind of roadmap. And I believe it'll cover summer 24, fall 24, and then what I think will be spring 25. So that's the next update coming in a few weeks. So keep that in mind and reach out to your account team for that. I think that was it. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tom. I know you got to bounce. We'll see you next time. Have a good
Thanks,
day,
everyone.
everybody.